What's going on, Coach?
What's up? Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yes, 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 yes.
How was
What's
your
up
Labor
now?
Day weekend?
Say that again?
How was Labor Day weekend?
Oh, we had a great time, man, here at the house, man, the family. How about
That's
yourself?
great, man. Had a great time as well, man. I went to the Jersey Shore. Just
Okay.
relaxing right now.
All right, all
And
right.
so let me ask you something.
Uh-huh.
How long you been training Shakur?
All his life.
And what age you started teaching him the basics?
Really, basically at 3, 4, 5. At 5 years old, I took him to the gym. And he was ready to box by then.
5 years old.
Mm-hmm.
And what fighters? Because I know you've been around the sport for years.
Hmm.
What fighters did you study and implement things from their skill set into Shakur at an early age?
Well, my trainer had been with Floyd Patterson and Bob Foster, so those are a lot of things that I implemented in him. Later on in life, I've implemented things like actually from Virgil Hill, worked with him and whatnot defensively, and those are my main two guys. Yeah,
So you train Virgil Hill, the light heavyweight, the former light heavyweight champion.
yeah, 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 yeah. For a period of
Okay.
time was the end line down the end of his career. Yeah, he helped me a
And
lot.
um and how does that make you feel that you did such a great job with your grandson and people
Uh-huh.
mention him and compare him among the quote unquote four kings? They talk about five kings,
Right.
Duran, Leonard, Hagler,
Mm-hmm.
Hearns, Benitez, and then
Mm-hmm.
today we got Shakur, we got
Mm-hmm.
Teofimo, we got
Uh,
Devin, we got Tank.
uh,
Um, some people say Ryan Garcia. Me personally, I don't have Ryan Garcia on that list. How do you feel about that? Like, who do you feel is the four kings today or the five kings?
Today, in my opinion,
Yeah.
Bud, right, number one. Okay. Then you got the Mexican monster, number two, right? You got to put Canelo up in there, right? Okay. Then you got Bebo, and I think Shakur.
Okay.
Those my
But it
five
sounds more.
kings. Huh?
It sounds more like it sounds more like a pound for pound list. The reason
Well,
why I say the kings,
the reason why I say it, like I throw Shakur up in there because ever since Shakur been boxing from the JO, the amateur, he was the number one. Okay, he moved up to the intermediate, he's the number one. Move up to the seniors, he's the number one. Okay, you move up to the youth men, number one. Move up to the elite, number one. Okay, move up on Olympic level, number one. So people don't know that Shakur, and what was it, 2014, 2015, Shakur won AIBA Boxer of the Year, which is anoints that boxer as the number one amateur boxer in the entire world. That's out of 195 nations, the top 60 nations in the world that qualify. And he's a two-time world champion as an amateur already. You know what I'm saying? It's not like he had already previously beaten prior world champion, amateur world champions during his run. So, Shakur been like, fighting at the top level all over the world since he was a kid, before his professional career. So he had beaten at least six former previous world champions that have been world champions before he had been world champion. So, that's what he been doing, all his life, So this is why I put him amongst some of those elite boxers in the world because he amateur wise, he's done something that none of them ever able to do. Be the number one amateur boxer in the entire world. So, I think, that's a part of his legacy.
well, one of his main attributes that I noticed that a lot of people always speak of, which is
Uh-huh.
part of his defense, is the way that he measures distance. Like he
Mm,
knows how to stand at a certain distance where he can get a shot off, but you can't get a
right,
shot off of him. Like
right. But the
which
strangest
guy?
thing is, you know, he's been doing that in his boxing career now. You know, if you look at his fights, people call him a runner or a chicken, and they say, I remember when that first started. It started when that chicken thing started when Mayweather fought Robert Ghost, the Ghost Guerrero. And that's when they came out with that chicken and running shit. But anyway, making a long story short, if you look at Zaya Zander's last fight, look how he moved all around the ring. They loved that. All right. Look at Jose Valenzuela when he beat Pitbull. He boxed and moved around. They loved that. But when a black guy do it, no, he's a chicken. They love it when they do it. It's fabulous boxing, but when we don't know, because you know me overall, I was really disappointed. You know that just because of the fans, my grandson had to slow his fight pace down. You know they put him in a slow mode, standing there. You know what I mean, rather than him biting his own shorts. But you know, he wanted to prove a point, and he did. But he didn't have to fight like that.
He could have made the fight a lot easier. And you know this is
Yes,
a double
yes.
standard in boxing, Wally. Like for instance, like
Uh,
you touched on, Shakur, he fights defensively. He likes to move around, keep his distance, and
right.
people they crucified him for the
Mm-hmm.
performance against Edwin De Los Santos, which I personally
Mm-hmm.
had him winning that fight, even though it wasn't the best performance he won. But on the
Well,
next, but next thing you know, you got Jermaine Ortiz when he fought Tiafimo, Jermaine Ortiz really ran around
mm,
that ring, but people were saying that he should have won. But when Shakur
right,
did it, they said he should have lost. You know what I
right,
mean? It's
right.
crazy.
Well, the thing about it is, though, they're two different styles. You see, people don't look at his offense. You know what I'm saying? Don't look why they see that distance, how he's constantly hitting his opponent, and his opponent is not hitting him. They didn't like that because he done it at a much faster pace. But when they still stayed there and stood there, and they had a chance to see some of it, then they really appreciated. You know what I'm saying? So you know. It's a damn if you do and damn if you don't. See, my thing to him is you can't please nobody but yourself. And if you're going to please anybody, please yourself by being yourself. What you say to that?
Now, there's rumblings and there's talking about a potential fight with another rival. And the
uh,
reason why I mentioned Kings, because I'm talking about guys that's like around the weight classes that
uh-huh.
could fight each other. Like we said, Tommy Hearns, Duran, Hagler, Benitez, Leonard. That's why I mentioned when I mentioned the Kings, I was talking about the guys, the big name, the most accomplished
I
guys
knew
around
who
135 to
I knew who you were
147.
talking about. I knew who you were talking about.
Yeah.
But I just wanted to mention that I don't like to elaborate on that because I give respect, you know what I mean? But a lot of this here shit have been settled outside the ring and settled already. You know, they know who the real king is. Trust me, bro. Okay, it ain't like these guys haven't fought other guys outside the ring. We haven't seen them fight. It had like they haven't sparred outside the ring. Okay, and they really know what's what. That's why they talk so much to try to make you think they're capable. It's about trying to get that payday now. You talk, talk, talk just to get paid so you don't have to fight. You want to get a pig day. You don't want to fight your way up to get that. They want to take the shortcut.
Now there's talks that there's people saying that in January there might be a potential big fight between Shakur Stevenson and Teofimo Lopez. Um, how close is that fight actually happening? Like how close is it to becoming a reality?
Well, it's a reality now, okay? Shakur told me he gonna fight Teofimo. And Teofimo really should know that's a bad move from him. It's not like, he's actually fought on that level before, you know what I'm saying? And I had Richard Comey in my camp early last year, right? And tried to get him in camp, right? And whatever, get him in shape so he can try to contend again. And man, I had one kid that was an amateur about to turn pro, beat the shit out of Richard Comey. So I seen that victory over Comey really wasn't nothing. The kid couldn't take a punch. amateur kids, knocking them out. So I had to stop the kid from knocking them out. So that didn't hold water. We look at the Cambosis fight, that didn't hold water. So I feel like when the level started to step up, he wasn't knocking anybody out. You know what I'm saying? In terms of him bringing up, he got pushed up there uh by top rank talking about the takeover. That was something that was discussed between me and his dad and Otha from Ohio. We was talking about we was gonna sign with McWaters, and we said we gonna have the takeover, and that's where that takeover name came from. He took it and ran with that takeover name, so he wasn't really the takeover. You know what I'm saying? So other than that, he boxed to quite a few people that we know out here that really done him dirty, man. You know what I'm saying? And I was really shocked at something when I went to his camp and seen this one guy kid putting it on him. You know what I mean? I thought the kid was tired or something. I said I asked him to go ahead and get some rest or something. But other than that, I'm gonna tell you like this here. Me and Tio and his family are very close. You know what I'm saying? As a mother and father, over these here years since the Olympic trials, which he should have been representing the USA. But we become very close, especially at the beginning of their careers. You know what I'm saying? And other than that, that crowd that we in, there was some sparring with a couple of guys that we know. And it didn't, that level. Not saying he did great, but he didn't do that well. Not saying he done bad, but he didn't do that good. You know what I'm saying? So I respect him. Other than that, the fighting. Other than that, I haven't seen nothing at the professional level. That I didn't see in all the other guys who were being manufactured to win. For they wins, they're fighting opponents that were very, very mediocre. You know what I'm saying? So,
You know what I noticed what Shakur does, which I appreciate. Whenever
uh,
he fights somebody, he doesn't he doesn't talk his opponents down. Like you got
right,
other fighters that would say things such as, "Oh, you
right,
a C class fighter, I'm an A class
right,
fighter."
right,
Shakur, even though he might trash talk because that's part of the sport, but he
right,
doesn't. But he doesn't downgrade his opponents because when you downgrade an opponent and call him a C level fighter, even though he's not,
right,
and then when you beat
right,
him, and the naysayers are gonna say, "Well, he wasn't that good." But Shakur,
right.
he took that's a page out of Floyd Mayweather's book. You big up your opponent, give him full
Uh,
credit. So when you beat him, you get full credit. And the truth is,
right. Well,
you
you
know,
let me say it like yeah. Well, let me say it like this here. I get asked questions about coaches all the time, man. What do you have to say about this coach? What do you have to say about this here coach? And I say the same thing to that question every time. Hey, I commend each and every coach out there. You know what I mean? Because they doing something that if they don't do it, we wouldn't have nobody to do it. You know what I'm saying? So I look at it that. The only difference is that just inside the ring, like fighters, some are more effective than others. It's just that simple. You know what I'm saying? Some people do a better job getting quality out of coaching. Others don't do as good a quality until they learn. Same thing as fighters. You're not on this level yet, but you hope to be on that level soon. It's like
exactly,
going to school, getting educated. You can't just go from high school and go out there and get your master's. No, that don't work like that. You got to climb that ladder. So and generally that's what they mean about the level stuff and all that. And a lot of people like to skip the levels and be glad that they were capable of avoiding those levels. But in the long run, the more experienced guys usually turn out. That's like you get the guys like Lomachenko, Bivol, and all those guys with hundreds of fights and hundreds of fights. Those like them girls like Shakur coming out, them guys like that. Tank had quite a few fights, you know what I'm saying? A number of fights. I think Tank and Ryan had more fights than all them other guys. I mean, Tank and Shakur had more fights than all those other guys combined. But you know, that experience pays off. You can't disguise it. It always turn out. Whether it's coaching, whether it's a cut man, whether it's the fighter.
Now let me ask you a hypothetical question, right?
Uh,
God forbid, let's say that they just announced right now that boxing is gonna be finished in a year. No more boxing. If you
uh,
can choose for you three last opponents, if the boxing is gonna be over with within a year for Shakur Stevenson, what would those three opponents who would those three opponents be?
well, I want to tell you really, if you look at it, who was out there for us up here? You know what I'm saying? And Shakur has been in the ring with each and every one of the guys that in here. Like when you was coming to top rank or you signing up with Mr. Prince or one of those guys, you're gonna get tested by Shakur. Okay. And all those guys were tested by Shakur. That's why they were signed. So the test already with those guys has already been done. And Shakur still stands elite.
No, but what three
Like that.
fights would you want? If
We had,
boxing was gonna be over with, what three fights would it be? Your three dream opponents for Shakur to finish out the rest of the year. If boxing was gonna be finished within a year, what who would those three opponents be?
number one, we want Tank. Okay, Arkansas number two. Who's out there right now? See, cause him and Keyshawn ain't gonna fight. I don't know if him and Abdullah gonna fight, cause when Abdullah is a young guy in the game. We like him as well. You know what I'm saying? But Abdullah is hungry. You never know what's on his mind. But Abdullah had the spar Shakur too. Uh, we use Lamont Roach a couple of times for our sparring partner. So it's really I can't say anybody out there if really know boxing and you really look at it right and look at the
What
skill
about
wise
Devin
and
Haney?
whatnot. You can pick any woman in the box, man. There's nobody that I don't think Shakur can not handle.
No, but is your pick, Wally? What three? You said Tank Davis, right? If you can only have only
Yeah,
one to three opponents only for the rest of his career, you said
yeah,
Javante Davis.
yeah. I
Would you
think
put
who else we want
the
He's I don't know who else is skilled enough right now. You just give me some names and I'll call them out for you.
the guy that he's in talks with right now, Tio?
Uh,
That's the first
yeah,
Four Kings fight for me.
that's up next.
Mhm.
So we can
All
scratch
right,
him out. He up next.
okay. So it's Tank. Um,
Uh,
I'll give you some names. Devin Haney.
It's Devin fighters, yes. That's Devin. That's no problem. I'm not. Devin is a good fighter. I respect him. Devin works really, really hard. Really, really hard. But Devin is Devin. I've known Devin for quite a few years. And, I still see Devin and Devin, that Devin. A lot of stuff I don't know is the people around him or whatever it is. And I'm not going to say anything bad about Devin because I like Devin. I coached Devin for about a year and a half on the U.S., so maybe 2 years on the USA team. So, I don't have anything to say bad about Devin at all. I have respect for his grandmother and his family. Me and Bill used to always be tight, man. You know what I mean? Bill used to visit me all the time, man. Come up to Jersey. Whenever I ran into Bill, we kicked it. You know what I'm saying? So I don't have nothing to say about Devin. Especially personally, I wish Devin the best.
Speaking of Bill, the same gym where I met you at, I met Bill Haney there too. Bill Haney actually, he's not there now because he's training Devin wherever the
Right,
camp is at. But before that, Bill Haney, he be in that gym all the time with his youngest son Sean, and I got a
right.
chance to kick it with Bill a few times. He's all right. He's cool.
Uh, yeah, they cool. They cool. Like I said, I never had a problem with the Haneys. You know what I'm saying? and really don't expect to. Long as respect is maintained, the same way you give respect, you earn respect. You know what I mean? A lot of things that he said, with Shakur, that we know when people get older, they change their mind. Like they never do this, they never do that. That all that stuff is out the window. You know what I'm saying? One thing I know, he said that he always stay a couple of weight classes above Shakur. You know, so that probably would never happen. We've been sparring Dev since he's a kid too.
Well, speaking of Devin, Devin, of course, would have to get past his fight. And Devin, is another fighter who I mentioned amongst the five
Uh,
kings, whatever. And he's taking
right.
on a tough, formidable foe in Brian Norman Jr. And
Yeah.
how do you see that fight playing out?
Well, like I said, I can only be honest with what I see, what I say. Like one time I seen Devin trying to fight like Roy Jones. You know what I'm saying? Then I seen him trying to fight like Floyd. You know what I'm saying? The only best Devin that I ever seen was Devin himself. You know what I'm saying? But Brian Norman is a tough opponent, man. You know what I mean? This is the toughest opponent Devin ever fought. I know that for a fact. You know what I'm saying? So, hey, if Devin can't take his punches, man, it might be an early night, man. If Devin can't keep the kid off him. If
It
he
might
can
be the
keep
first time that Devin's an underdog too. It might
well
be the
now
first
look,
time in his career that he might be an underdog.
oh, he's an underdog because he's not bigger than his opponent this time. You know what I'm saying? The size is almost
Yeah.
equal. You know what I'm saying? So it's not like he's gonna hydrate up, another 25 pounds against this opponent. You know what I mean? So, he brought up hydration and all that stuff, but everybody else. So now, since he been bringing up hydration, and Devin was over the hydration clause almost every time he fought an opponent. You know what I'm saying? 25 pounds over, 20 something pounds over. You in the next weight class, so that's not supposed to go on. And he been able to get away with it up until now. That a lot of people have been pushing those concerns because they talked about it about everybody else, and everybody else always referred to Devin Haney. You've been allowing this to go on, so that's a big thing with him now. Even, like though my man Coach Malachi made a terrific point, until, when my man said, okay, he gonna do that 365 or whatever 6'5" testing, you know what I'm saying? Bill haven't been saying shit lately. He agreed to that. I think Bill wanted to look for that shit to get out of the fight. If he don't test, we ain't fighting. So the kid did that, you know what I'm saying? And we haven't heard much from Bill since, you know what I'm saying? So,
Now, yeah,
huh?
Bill, to me, it looks like Bill's been locked in, training Devin for the fight. And I like to bring it back to the Four Kings because that's like nostalgia. That's around the
Uh,
time I started watching boxing, like near the '80s. And
uh,
like I was saying, like I was talking about, the topic, the title, of the interviews about
uh,
if when Shakur and Tiafimo fight, right? Me
uh,
personally, I feel that will actually be the first actual fight from
uh,
today's young kings. A lot of people said that Ryan Garcia versus Tank was, but the reason why I say Tio versus Shakur is because Tio and Shakur are two fighters that are already established, two fighters that have a lot of accolades, have
mm.
tight resumes. If both of them retire right now, it's arguably that they could even get into the Hall of
So
Fame.
you see,
When the
see,
original,
see, see, now we got to look at this here. I can't go with that. I give Tio all the respect, but who did he ever beat? But Richard Coleman, and Richard Coleman was nobody. You know what I'm saying? You might,
he
the
beat
way
Lomachenko.
that I see Richard Coleman had him in camp, you might knock him out, brother. You know what I'm saying? That's how bad it
You
is.
forgot
So it
about
was
Lomachenko,
easy,
Wally.
huh?
Coach, you forgot about
Lomachenko.
Lomachenko and Josh Taylor.
What about it?
He beat
He
Lomachenko
wanted to,
also.
yo. If somebody run into your fist, you might knock them out too. That's a good punch. But look, man, what happened when fights go in the deep waters? That's when you tell. Well, tell you how good as you are is when you can't knock nobody out. Either when you can't nobody get out, either you either beat them or they beat you. Okay. Now
Yeah.
how many close decisions that he had when he didn't knock nobody out?
The two that was close was the
How many?
Jermaine Ortiz, Jermaine
Uh huh.
Ortiz and Sandor Martin.
A lot of people thought he lost. Now that's two, right? And he already had one loss, right? Okay, to a guy that went 24 rounds with Devin Haney, but went seven with Teofimo, went seven with not excuse me, went seven with Lomachenko, and went seven with Africa. What that tell you? What
What
does
you feel
that
about?
tell you? No, look at the Lomachenko and Haney fight. Them two dudes was fighting head and nails, back and forth, boom, 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 boom. Huh? Am I right and wrong? They going toe for toe.
That was a close fight. A lot of people felt that Lomachenko won that fight.
Oh well, yeah, well, we know that one, but no. But let's look at him and not so ferocious Cambosos. They was going toe to
Yeah,
toe.
that was a bad loss because Cambosa turned out to be, I don't want to say nothing, I don't want to say the word bum, but he turned out to not really be an elite fighter.
When he fought somebody. Now let's mind you, he went 24 rounds with Devin, fought him twice, and they were going back and forth. Look at the fights. Am I right or wrong?
You talking about Lomachenko and Devin?
No, I'm talking about Cambosos and Devin.
So when Cambosa fought Devin, Devin wiped him out.
Wiped them out. They went 24 rounds, bro. 12
No,
rounds
yeah, he did. No,
apiece.
they did,
And they was going back
but
and
he won
forth.
every
Look at them
round.
fights.
Devin and Cambosos was a whitewash.
Well,
Devin won every
whitewash.
round.
No. Africa and Lomachenko was a whitewash when they fought him. My man, how you gonna tell him this kid fought him, boxed him 24 rounds? When did he
You thought that
whitewash
fight
him?
was close? When Devin
It was
fought
close,
Cambosos, he
yeah.
won
He
every
in
round.
Great Britain was close. You didn't watch it?
Yeah, I seen it.
All right. You must have just been looking at Devin Haney. You wasn't looking at Cambosis hitting him.
With that got to be one of
What
the
the
worst
what the
upsets we've ever
hey,
seen.
listen, let me tell you more about it. You heard like they say they call tanker manufactured fighter? Huh?
Hmm.
Okay. What you think about Devin?
Um, I think Devin is proven.
Okay, he's proven. Look at his first 20 opponents. What happened with them? They got 152 losses. Tank's first 20 got 252 losses. Tell me about it. Look at they go to the box rec.
Oh, Devin has a better resume than Tank, in my opinion.
Oh no,
Devin has a better resume than Tank.
Devin fought the same bun too. His first 20 opponents got 152 losses. Shakur's first 20 opponents only got 13 losses. You didn't look at the box rec? Look at his box rec.
Well,
Look at his box
coming up,
rec. And him and Tank been beating guys. You see, since they've been fighting since in Mexico, they ain't been knocking nobody out like they've been knocking nobody out. Them guys they were knocking out, everybody that fought them had knocked them out prior to them knocking them out. Okay, he was given a first title. Both of them was given a title. Didn't have to fight for it. Him and Tank.
Tank fought Pedraza for his first title. That was like one of his best wins. It didn't
That was
age
one of his
good, but
best
that was
friends.
one of his
That
best
was a
wins.
that was a drain for Jaza. Couldn't make 130 any damn more. He had so much trouble making weight that fight. It was a shame. Matter
So
of
let me ask
fact,
you a question.
matter of fact, Pedraza ended up beating a dude that beat Tank. Julian Rodriguez beat Tank in the amateurs in one of our shows. Pedraza knocked him out at the right weight class. And Julian dropped Tank.
I didn't know about that.
No, you don't know about that. You know about how Gonzalez beat him twice?
I didn't know about that.
You ain't know about that? You didn't know
I
about
didn't follow Tank in
Gonzalez
the amateurs.
uh what's his name? The kid Shakur beat at 122.
Joet
Uh
Gonzalez.
Joet. You didn't know he beat Tank?
No, I never knew they fought. I never knew about that.
Oh, it's on YouTube.
I gotta
You
look
don't
that up. I
you
gotta
you you
check that
never
out.
knew why Tank and Devin went to motherfucking a Mexico to fight. You know why? Cause they couldn't beat the dudes that beat them.
So
You
let
gonna
me
tell
ask.
me
So
everybody don't want to be number one coming out the amateurs? They had a shot to go to fight them guys for the number one spot, but guess what? They didn't. Devin was on the team with me. Devin ain't never win gold in no tournaments. Matter of
Devin
fact,
didn't go to
on
the
the matter of
Olympics,
fact,
right?
on the matter of fact, Devin won one fight in the world. The second fight he lost. He was he was out.
So Devin and Tank don't go into the Hall of Fame right now, neither. If they return,
For what? No, who gonna vote him in? Look at their
I mean
box
Devin
record.
was
And you tell me. Look at their box record and look at their records now. What's going on? Now you got to remember. Hey, if you got him and Devin in there, you might as well put Lamont in there too, because Lamont went in the amateurs further than both of them cats.
but Devin has a better resume than Lamont in the pros.
And what pros? I got look at his damn box record, man. You kept Devin got this here. Who Devin really fought?
He fought Lomachenko. He beat Regis Prograis.
Everybody think. Listen, let me tell you something. No disrespect to Regis program, but Regis program is slow as hell, bro. Okay, all right, all right. Shakur boxed him, man, in Main Street, man. It wasn't pretty. Okay. The nigga went out there. Oh, who said he couldn't punch off on his ass? So we ain't worried about that. As a matter of fact, Shakur told Devin that's how confident he was about how slow Regis was.
What about
Well, look at
Linares? He
it.
beat
Look at it.
Linares.
What about it? Tell me about his resume.
Yeah, I can tell you that. Listen, for me, they all got pretty good resumes, but Devin got some solid wins,
Wait a minute.
right?
Wait a minute. Wait a minute.
He got
If you don't
Lomachenko.
fight top guys in the amateurs, bro, what make you think you want to fight them in the pros? If you don't fight them in the amateurs, what make you think you want to fight them in the pros? You want to call out the top dogs up there, so you can, but you ain't never been no top dog in your life. Now, when it comes to top dogs, I would tell you like this. Like I tell you, I like and love and respect Devin. Okay, Devin is a very hard worker, but Devin ain't never been that top dog. He may be in a lot of you guys' eyes, but in the boxing world, no. I had one kid, but one kid used to tear frame with him, man. And you see how the kid Jacob that was in Cepeda corner.
Yeah,
Okay, I was team manager. Jacob was one of my assistants. And he had the kid Alexis Rocha, right? You ever heard of Alexis Rocha? Huh?
yeah, the
He used to
welterweight.
kick. He used to kick Devin ass. I used to have to not let Devin spar that kid.
I
Okay?
mean, wow.
You mean, wow. Huh. Look at they man. Look at their resume. Look at their background. Look at their amateur record. You say you're doing all this. Look how good. That'll tell you whether you're going in the Hall of Fame. You look at all those guys you talking about. They were great amateur champions. Damn, all of them fought in the Olympics or Olympic trials for their country. The Kings did. The real Kings did. You only got one king up there now. Two kings now done went that far. That's Shakur and Keyshawn. You got Andy Cruz up there. He went that far. I mean, fighting on world level competition.
What's your thoughts on Andy Cruz, by the way, as far as what he's doing now in the pros? Because I got a chance to see him spar when I went down to Bosie's, and he's very sharp, very skilled.
Well, I got a Cuban kid in our gym now, a two-time champion, and all the Cubans are very skilled. You know what I'm saying? It's until they fight a more skillful fighter. Man, I had spent a couple of years when the Cuban coach took over the USA team. I was there, okay, with that coach. Coach Pedro have like 7 different sports science degrees. He very well known. He said what we did in Cuba. He said we look in '76 and we said we see how athletic the team was. We seen how powerful the team was. So we took the Russian style and American style and mix it together, and now we come up with your modern day Cuban fighter. You look right now. How many U.S. American champions do you have? There are more international champions in world boxing here in the United States than we have from the United States. It didn't used to be like that.
No,
United States used to
not no
dominate
more.
on both sides of the water.
Exactly. I remember the great Olympic teams back in the day when we had a Vander Holyfield, right? Tyrell Biggs, Pernell Whitaker, Mildred
All of
Taylor,
them,
right?
man. Yes, sir, bro.
And then
You
and
had
then
all
you had
those
number
guys that were
and then
damn
you would have
winning.
Muhammad Ali with you had the team with Ali. I think it was no, it wasn't Ali. Ali had a great team too, but what was the other team with the Spinks
Foreman and them had
brothers
a great team. All of them had a great team. Ray Mercer and them had a great team.
Ray
And
Mercer?
U.S. used to have great teams. That's why we dominated boxing. But now it's not like that anymore. Nothing like that.
And the last
Especially
the
like
last gold
when
medalist was
we
Andre
had, I
Ward.
tell you, we had a couple of guys on the 2016 team. Let me show you. See this here medal? Oh, here. See this medal? This is called the ICOS Award, right? I received this award for the 2016 team in boxing, okay? All right? Because the whole 2016 team, I was there from 2011 to 2015, okay? So that was pretty much my team, you know what I mean? So now, those guys, that's the team that won a world title. Now, when you don't have proper coaching, how can a boxer have a proper chance? You understand? If you don't have the right coaches, like I said, some coaches are more effective than others. But when you see coaches that have been losing all their life, you can't expect them to be a winning coach all of a sudden. Not all you know how to do is lose. So how can
Speaking
he
of
coach your
coaching,
fighter, huh?
speaking of coaching, how do you feel about when there's some people that say that it's better to have it? Like you have coaches out there that box before, and then you have coaches that never boxed before. How do you
Uh,
feel about that? When like Floyd Mayweather, for instance, says that a coach that never boxed before can't be an effective coach. What's your take
well,
on that?
you know why you say that? They say experience is the best teacher. So if a guy really has no concept of real physicality or how to take a punch or getting hit with a punch, how to react from getting hit with a punch, how can he teach someplace else? I got even a criteria that I've learned over the years better than that. You know what I mean? Like you say, when you see a lot of father and son coaches out here and claim to
Yeah.
be good coaches, I say fathers coach only as good as their sons fight. If their sons can't fight, how could they teach your son how to fight? You understand? So you look at all of that. You look at all that. When it comes down to experience, experience is the best teacher. This is why my reason to say, as coaches should have and be capable and able of giving a resume of who they are and what they want. If they haven't really won nothing, how can they help you? This is why you have a lot of coaches lie and say, I train this guy, I train that guy, I train this guy, I train that guy, because they don't have a winning resume. So they try to cling on to somebody that has a winning resume so they can try to carry that name to carry them. All right.
A friend of mine told me one time, he said, if I'm gonna get my car fixed, I'm gonna get my car fixed by a mechanic. I'm not gonna go to a librarian to fix my car.
Of course. Quite naturally. Makes all the sense in the world. So if you expect to have, especially at the top level, to have a coach that's going to teach you how to win, if he hasn't won and haven't have any other thing to win, then hey, how can he teach you how to win? Know what else you ever watch out? Always watch out for a coach, trainer that be supposed to be a great trainer and a good trainer, and don't have no fighters that he ever taught from the beginning. If you can't find one person that say this guy taught me from the beginning and whatnot, really know boxing, then he's never made anybody good. He hasn't made not one person good. But his work could tell if you could take one person from that very beginning and make him a champion from beginning, from to start, from the beginning to end, hey, then you can do it. You got a job. You'll be around for a while. But if you can't do that, you can't be around. Because a house, that's like saying, I'm going to buy this here house, but damn, I don't need a foundation. Just give me any foundation. I'm going to put it on there. If the foundation is not stable, you know the house is not going to hold the weight. It's going to go down. It will not stand. It's just like the foundation in boxing. If a coach doesn't have real legitimate foundation that he can fall back on, that can protect him and can prevent him from getting hurt inside that fight, inside that ring, then no, you don't have, you're not going to win. The craziest shit I see motherfuckers still doing now today. The outlaw shit, answer the phone, wipe the mustache and all that bootleg shit. Whole standing in the field saying you block like this with your hands up like that. That's crazy shit.
Back in the day, we had a lot of great coaches back in the day. One of my favorite watching him
Uh,
fight was Georgie Benton. You ever
uh,
got a chance to watch him?
yes, I got a chance to just watch him. I got a chance to meet him and everything else. Yes,
Yeah,
that's real
Georgie
old
was a hell of a
school.
fighter.
And you see, his fundamentals and he still work today. Cause you know why? They're original. You got fighters still pulling their hands up to their head. You know what I mean? That's not it. Old school guys always pulled their head into their hands so their hands could protect them. That's basic, real fundamental shit.
That's the move you showed me in the gym. Remember, I was hitting the bag and you came by and
Right,
showed me a little trick real quick.
right,
And I still got pictures of
right.
that.
Make a lot of sense though, don't it?
Yeah, absolutely.
Hmm. And that's what you see guys out there still training with today. And we spoke of some of them while we were just talking, while we were talking, still doing those basic fundamental things. Mistakes, should I
You know
say.
what? You know who else was a great coach back in the day, man? Rest in
Uh,
peace, Eddie Futch.
oh yeah, Eddie Futch, yes sir.
Eddie
Eddie
Futch.
Futch, yeah, Archie Moore, shit. You got a lot of great coaches out here,
And
man.
even in Puerto Rico, well, you heard. I know you know about Wilfredo Benitez. I'm not going to ask you that.
Yeah, yeah, yes, I
Wilfredo
know.
Benitez's father. Remember, you talked about. You just said that when you have a father that trains his son, but that's all he trains because his son was a natural.
Right.
Prior to prior to Wilfredo Benitez father training Benitez to be a champion, he trained another champion named Esteban de Jesus, which was the
Right,
first guy that went on to beat Roberto Duran at 135.
right,
And
right,
so
right.
he already had a
Look,
champion before he even before his son Wilfredo became a champion. That shows that he knew his stuff.
yeah, yes, he knew his stuff. He loved cougars and he loved cobras. He kept them big snakes with him, man. Yes, he did. But hey, there's a couple of great coaches in Puerto Rico, man. You can't take nothing away from Felix Trinidad, dad, too.
Felix Trinidad's dad, yeah, I believe I don't know if he trained anybody else, but Trinidad,
Yeah,
growing up me being Puerto Rican, Trinidad was my favorite fighter. And speaking of
yeah.
Trinidad and Puerto Rican, right? The first time I heard that Shakur Stevenson is half Puerto Rican,
Uh,
I was hyped because Puerto Rico hasn't had a real elite level pound for pound type fighter since
uh,
Miguel Cotto.
right.
And watching Shakur, he kind of reminds me a little bit of Wilfredo Benitez in terms of
Uh,
the way he steps out of range just enough. He doesn't really, how would I say, he doesn't over move. He just moves enough
right,
to make you miss by a fraction of an inch.
right. Yeah. Well, let me tell you like this here. Puerto Rico, Borinquin history has a ritual of great fighters and great talents, and they have a very great culture. And through true blood and guts, Puerto Rico is one of the best, turns out some of the best fighters in the world. People don't realize it, but it's just so hard to get out of Puerto Rico, man. The ones that really get a chance really can survive and make it, I mean, the weather that they get through these here storms and whatnot, man, is really devastating, man. And the ones that do make it out are very fortunate, and believe it or not, they work very, very hard to get there, to get where they were, or to get the capability of getting out and getting themselves in a situation where they can get out. So, hey, there's some great fighters and there's some great people as well in Puerto Rico, man. No lie. I have one of my best friends right now, been with me for over 30 years, Robinson Velez, man. We would go to Puerto Rico, he'd take us there to Catalina and everywhere else, man. San Juan,
Yeah,
Selena, and
Gennady, you went to
huh?
Carolina? You
Huh?
went out to Carolina? You went out there to
Yeah, I've been
Carolina,
to
Puerto
Puerto
Rico?
Rico.
That's what's up.
Yes, yes, yes. I've been there in San Juan and the Wilfredo Gomez gym, everywhere, man. And like I had one kid, man, Angel Santos, man. I wish I never had the love. This kid hadn't got away, man. He'd have been a world champ too, man. He was in the gangs in Puerto Rico. We got a chance to get him up here, turned his life around, started boxing, man. Matter of fact, he lost an Olympic trial to Sean Estrada, right? And look what happened to Sean Estrada. Nothing. He ain't nowhere now. He couldn't even make weight.
Now, speaking of
Uh,
Puerto Rican fighters, right, we talked about Xander Zayas earlier. Um,
yeah.
do you see the specialness in Xander that you probably seen in Cotto, or you don't see it?
Well, look,
Because when Cotto was
they.
coming up, I knew Cotto was going to be special from the beginning.
Uh, uh, well,
What's your thoughts on Xander Zayas? You think Xander could be a great one, or
Xander can be, but it's going to be the amount of respect that he get because you see Xander, he moved more than Shakur. You know what I'm saying in the ring. You know what I'm saying? As far as movement, moving and using the ring, he does more than Shakur. So, did you see his last fight?
yes, or that fight?
Oh, Puerto Rico, Mexicans, everybody loved it. They loved the way he moved, and he moved way more than Shakur. Shakur had the move, the most Shakur had moved in the De Los Santos fight, because he hurt one hand going and before the fight, and during the fight he hurt another hand. So he had to win with a hurt hand. You know what I'm saying? So we take a win. They can say what they want to say. He done what he had to do. Now, when we looked at Valenzuela, Jose Valenzuela outboxed the shit out of Pitbull. Like Shakur was, he's slipping, stepping around him, moving, do good folk. Oh, they love that. Well, if that was a black fighter doing that there, they say, oh, they wouldn't respect it. They wouldn't say good boxing. Oh, lovely boxing, lovely movement. You did so good. They say he running like a Chico. That's just
Um,
it, man. And
now,
like I explained to one commentator, see, people think it's about race. No, it ain't about race. It's about dollars. You understand? You see, you can pay somebody from Italy, from Mexico, and them other countries where the dollar value is 8 times to one. You give a guy in Mexico $1 million. It depends on what day it is. That 1 million is either worth 8 to 10 million or 8 to 12 million. Depends on what day it is when the dollar value is the highest. So they rich. You understand? So now by paying them, they get a chance to make money, and pay out less money. Paying us, you gonna know we won't want what we worth. We want what the dollar value is here, not what's in Mexico. You understand? So you don't think they'd rather pay those guys and make them rich than pay us and make us rich at a richer salary or a higher salaries? What you think you would do?
I want what the money's worth the most.
Yeah, from us.
speaking speaking of
They can make
Mexico,
the dollars from us here,
right?
but hey, they would have to pay us the kind of merit money that we know that boxers should get paid. But them, 1 million of them is like 12 million. They set 2 million. God damn, you know you in paradise.
Coach, speaking of Mexico, right? We got Canelo Alvarez taking on Buck Crawford. Before I ask you about that fight, would you rate Canelo Alvarez or rank Canelo Alvarez above Julio Cesar Chavez as the greatest Mexican of all time? Do you feel he did more than Chavez already to be considered number one as the greatest Mexican ever?
No, like he say he fought everybody, but we know there's quite a few people out here that Canelo hasn't fought. You know what I'm saying? We know that too. A couple of them that were that level that he did fight, he lost to. Them other guys you talking about, if I lost, they want to go back for a rematch, man. He ain't going back for no more rematch. He don't want to fight B-Ball again. Am I right or wrong?
Well, he did want to fight Bevel again, but he wanted to go to 175, and Bevel wanted to meet him at 168. So that fight never materialized as far as the rematch.
What is B-Ball fighting now?
Fights at 175.
I rest my case. And he tell you he the one who wouldn't want to fight him at 175. He fought him at 175 the first time
He
and
did.
lost. And lost. So why you going about he want to fight him at 168?
No, Canelo wanted to fight him at 175. Bevel wanted to fight him at 168 to take Canelo's belt. Canelo wanted the rematch at 175. Bevel wanted to meet him at 168 to take Canelo's strap because when they fought the first time,
Do you think
Canelo was
B-Ball, I
very
thought they
good.
fought at 175.
No, they did. They did. Canelo fought him for Bevel's belt, right? And then when
Right.
Canelo wanted the rematch, Bevel said that he will fight him at 168 so he can go down and take Canelo's belts now. And so that fight never happened, the rematch.
Why should it? Why should it? He fight for what we fought for the first time. We had about to fight the same thing. What the
So
hell is that?
what's
That's
your
just
pick?
some kind of excuse he trying to make to get out of the fight. That's what it sounds like to me. I just fought you at 75 and lost. Let me fight you at 75 and be. Let's go down to 68 and fight. Get the fuck out of here. That's some bitch shit. And shit, that the best when he fought his best fight, he was juiced up. How
How
many
do you see
times?
that fight going with him and Bud Crawford? How do you see that fight going?
Yo, I find it surprisingly upset for motherfucking Canelo. They talking all that bullshit, man. Bud naturally walk around at 181, man. You know what I'm saying? They talk Bud putting on all this weight. Bud bulking up. No, Bud ain't bulking up. Bud will start, man, a couple of months out of camp, out of fight day, cutting down. By the time everybody see him, Bud is around 170, 60 something pounds. Then he just cut all the rest of his fucking fight, man. But Bud is not as small as people think, not thinking. And he's strong. He's strong than a motherfucker. And his shit is definitely sustainable. In other
So you
words, he
picking
gonna
Bud
be there
Crawford
for
to win?
12. Am I picking Bud? Of course.
So if Bud Crawford wins
Listen.
his fight,
Can I
go
ask you
ahead.
this here?
Absolutely, go ahead.
Did Bud Crawford go up and wait and win?
He moving. He been moving up. Yeah, he's in his fourth division.
He been going up and winning, going up and winning, going up and winning, right or wrong?
Yeah.
Canelo went up and lost.
Well, he lost at 175, but remember Canelo
It
also
don't
started at
matter
one.
what he lost at. He lost to Mayweather too. And who else? And let's not forget, a lot of people as well as me. I thought Lara beat his ass.
I didn't
Did he
have Lara
really?
winning that fight.
Shit, you better look at all them straight left hands. Lara taught that nigga a lesson.
Now Bud Crawford beats Canelo Alvarez. Um, how would you rank that win compared to Marvin Hagler? I mean, compared to Sugar Ray Leonard beating Marvin Hagler, would that be a bigger win for you than Sugar Ray Leonard coming out of retirement for 3 years and beating Marvin Hagler?
Yes, it would be, in terms of Bud winning the fight.
Yeah, Bud wins. Is that a bigger win than Ray Leonard beating Marvin Hagler?
It's just as big. Just as big. It may be even bigger. You know why? How many times did we watch them take fights from Hagler? Huh?
The Leonard fight was real close.
Real close. But they took it from Hagler, right? What other fights you seen them with Hagler? Man, let's not get
There was a
Vito and
fight where he got,
Infermo.
yeah,
Huh?
Vito and the Furbo, he got jerked on that fight. He got
Okay,
jerked the first time they fought.
and another kid before he got one on his win streak, he lost the gave the fight to who he clearly beat, and they gave his fight to the other motherfucker. So 3 times we know he got badass decisions that he should have won. Marvin had it hard, bro. He had it
Yeah, he
harder
did.
than any other fighter, man.
The reason why I say Leonard beating Hagler is still bigger than Bud beating Canelo,
Uh huh.
because you got more people picking Bud to win than you have people picking Ray Leonard to win. When Ray Leonard fought Hagler going into that fight, people were afraid for his life. They were
What
scared for
that
his life.
what that got to do, man? Cause who feared for his life?
Well, a lot of people felt that Ray Leonard had no business in the ring with him because he was coming out of
Well,
retirement
that's the
for the
same shit they
Oscar.
talk about Bud and Canelo. Oh,
No, most people were
Canelo
picking
hits so
Bud though.
hard. Canelo's neck is this big. Canelo, they saying that same shit.
But there's more people picking Bud now than people were picking Ray Leonard back then.
You know why? You know why?
Tell me.
Because most of the people that really know Bud is picking Bud. This ain't no outside motherfuckers, you know what I'm saying? Now motherfuckers done been with Bud. We done been with Bud, seen how Bud up and down the mountains and how motherfucking hard this motherfucker is working and every fucking day. You know what I mean? Day in, day out. We see how motherfucking competitive his mindset when he wrestling with his motherfucking cousins and them motherfuckers who are on the national motherfucking championship teams and all that shit. We see that motherfucker when he out there, when he ain't running up them hills. He riding them bikes up them fucking hills. When we see that motherfucker when he in the gym, we ain't gonna tell you all the shit that he do. But when he doing all that shit to make him who he is, you know what I'm saying? And all that shit like Eddie Reynoso and them do is just to me, it's just average shit. I done seen some best shit from all around the world, and what they doing is just routine, one fighter shit, one coach, one preparation, same preparation for every damn fighter because we're better, we're stronger, and we're Canelo. I don't see the mindset into it. When you see when Eddie Reynoso coaches other fighters, you don't get the same results, right?
I
So
mean,
now,
Canelo's the only one, to my
huh?
knowledge, that Canelo's the only one that made it this far out of the guys that I've seen him coach.
Right, because Carrillo is the better fighter. He got the better mindset than any other guys he got. You understand? But you got to look at Canelo is adaptable. You see how Canelo learned from the Floyd Mayweather ass whooping. He started learning how to box now instead of thinking he was all power, can walk through everybody. He knew that shit wasn't happening against a good boxer. So Canelo started learning how to box. Okay, we seen with the Bivol fight. He saying he thought he was a better boxer. He gonna go against a boxer and punch him. We see he couldn't do that. Okay. So now he said, all right, this motherfucker, I better go my ass back down. Now look, Bud done all of that shit. Am I right or wrong? He went up all the weight classes, beat everybody. Hardly wasn't shit close. What make you think it's gonna be any different this time?
I'm actually picking Canelo to win this fight.
I know
I
you
think
are.
Canelo got better defense than Bud Crawford. Um,
Uh,
Canelo
I
faced
doubt
better
that, bro.
competition.
Uh,
Canelo faced better competition.
to an extent, you look at it to an extent. I don't know how much better the competition was because the only real fighters that you could say he fought. He fought against an unhealthy Daniel Jacobs with the cancer shit he had. Okay, now when you look at who else he fought, other than when he fought the toughest fighter like Floyd Mayweather, he lost. Vivo, he lost. Who else on the other two guys gave him close fights? The one guy they gave the fight to him. Everybody thought he was out boxing him, and he was touching Canelo up. And they said because the guy was running that last fight he had, that guy was touching
Felix
Canelo.
Cole.
Yeah, did you see that fight?
Yeah, I saw that fight.
Was he touching Canelo too?
He was touching him. That was a boring fight though.
And born Coach Canelo, Coach Canelo couldn't catch up to him. Everybody say it's born when a motherfucker can't hit another motherfucker, but when they got getting hit, everybody can it's born because he won't let him hit him. You know what good boxers say and good deal? Oh, great. You know something? When I came out the ring, right, with the pay to fight, when all that happened to me, grabbed myself and said, yo, brother, man, y'all playing in a Picasso tonight. Picasso. Okay, now look. For free 3 rounds, we stand there boxing that motherfucker playing around the ropes and let him wear his shit ass out a little bit, keep letting him wear down. Okay, we started walking them ass around. It was easy, but we kept standing there. So now, imagine if we had fought him at our pace with that movement of pace. What would they have said?
You know how the critics are. The critics going to talk crazy.
What would they have said? Oh, he had to move around. Motherfuckers don't know that's boxing. You go in Europe, boxing is much bigger in Europe than it is here. A lot of people don't realize that. We have mega fights here and mega fighters here because those guys become world champions. But boxing is much more respected around the world than it is here in the U.S. You understand? Because they respect boxing. They
They
don't
don't throw their
respect.
fighters away. Yeah, they don't throw their fighters away like over here, like the UK
Yeah,
for instance. They ride with their fighters to the end. Even in Puerto Rico, a fighter could
right.
lose. We don't throw our fighters away over there. Look how many times um Cotto got a lot of wins, but Cotto got some losses. We never wrote him off and said, "Oh, he
No,
don't got it."
no, no.
You know,
And they always let me tell you,
Spence don't do that neither.
when I was a kid, growing up in Newark, there was always more black people, but as the Hispanic people started to move more into the community, what happened? They started opening more stores and whatnot. Now you would have a Spanish store here on Broad Street. People from far as Elizabeth Avenue that were Hispanic and everything would pass by all other stores and go to that Hispanic store. Guess what? I didn't dislike that. You know what I mean? I love that because you know why? They were supporting businesses that were close or in their community. And they offered to come pick them up, drop them off. So now you have stores that are catering to their community to help them benefit from using their businesses. They're giving back. You understand? We don't show that support. Yo, you got one store here. I ain't walking all the way down there in that store. This store right here, man. It's the Chinese man store. Or this guy's store. Not saying that we have to have any kind of reason to say pick this store over the store, but I'm just talking about the concept of support in your community. If we don't support it, nobody will. Just like us coaches out here doing a job that we doing, if we don't do it, nobody will. Nobody's gonna come in our community to help teach our kids to pull them up out of the community. You may have some people do it, but that's our job
Absolutely
first
right.
and foremost, huh?
Absolutely right, man. We all gotta support each other.
Yeah.
Do it the right way.
You
But
know,
Wally, go ahead.
I saw some brothers, some Mexican brothers, man, post some posts, man. And man, it was one of the best things I heard in the world. He said, this shit ain't about black and Mexican, man. You know what I'm saying? It's about preventing us from doing anything we want to do. But hey, he said we should be the smart ones. Us blacks and Mexicans, we should get together and start pooling our money for our own resources, start building our own businesses and whatnot. Why not? That was one of the best things that I heard. Because if we don't do it for us, nobody's going to do it.
That's a fact. That's a fact. But
Okay, my good brother. So I know you hands out. I'm getting ready to get up out of here, man.
yeah, but champ, listen, man, thanks a lot, coach. I appreciate this. I would love to do
Appreciate
this
you,
more
brother.
often for sure. Thank you for coming to
Uh,
the platform. And like I
thank you,
said,
man.
man, stay doing what you gotta do, man. God bless you and the family.
You too, my brother.
All right, brother. Enjoy.
You too. Peace.
Peace. Yeah, that was Wally Moses, man. Shout out to him. Great trainer, great person. I got a chance to meet him in the gym. And yeah, that was very interesting, man. He had a lot to say, a lot on his mind. Anyway, thank you for tuning in. With that being said, hit the like button, share the video, leave a comment, subscribe. Low Nose Boxing, because Low Nose Boxing. I'm out.